good ground, bad ground. But he would speak to people often in parables. They were like riddles. Sometimes it's very difficult to understand what he would talk about, And here what happens is you have the disciples, and the disciples were a broader category of people than just the 12 apostles. Like you have the 12 apostles, then you have the disciples, and the disciples were the people who believed in him. And so you have the disciples, this is a large group of people, and they came to Jesus and they asked Jesus a question. And the question that the disciples ask is, why do you speak to the people, these crowds of people, in parables? Why do you talk to them in parables? So there's two categories of people: disciples, the people who believe, and the crowds don't. And the disciples say, why do you talk to this group of people in parables? But not to us. And his answer is rather hard to understand. And he says, this is why I speak to them in parables, to the crowds, because they look, but they don't see. Gross is the heart of this people. They have closed their eyes, lest they see. So he's saying that he doesn't speak to the crowds in parables because they've closed their eyes to the truth. This is why I speak to them in parables. They look, but they don't see. They have closed their eyes, lest they see with their eyes. And then he says to the people who believe in him, but blessed are you. Blessed are your eyes, because they see. And obviously, these people were looking upon Jesus, the Messiah. So blessed were those people who looked upon him. And blessed were those people. And he goes on to say, there are many prophets and righteous people who long to see what you see but didn't see it. Imagine Jeremiah would like to have seen the Messiah. Jeremiah never saw. Isaiah longed to look on the Messiah. He never saw. But he was saying, blessed are you. You look upon the Messiah. Blessed are your eyes. A few thoughts about being blind. All this is about seeing. This is why I speak to them in parables. They look, but they don't see. They have closed their eyes, lest they see with their eyes. You have been around blind people your whole life. I have been around blind people my whole life. You can be blind two ways. You can be physically blind, where you can't see with your physical eyes. You can be spiritually blind. A person who's spiritually blind has the truth in front of them, but they don't recognize it. These crowds were what? Spiritually blind. They had God in front of them, but yet they didn't what? Recognize him. They were spiritually blind. I have a cousin, my first cousin. He's about 3 years younger than I am. He lives in Louisville, Kentucky. He was born without eyes. My mother was the secretary of the Kentucky School for the Blind, 25 years. I used to go there all the time to visit her. And you see children in grade school and high school. Some were completely blind, and they had a dog or they had somebody leading them. Some were partially blind. They were physically blind. But you can have people who are spiritually blind. This crowd is spiritually blind. You have politicians who advocate for abortion. They are spiritually blind. You have people who have the truth in front of them and they deny the truth, don't recognize the truth, and they claim to be enlightened in the modern world, but actually what? They're blind as bats. They're blind as bats. I would suggest to you that a good part of American society today is spiritually blind. And what they do is they advocate, which is directly in opposition to the light. They try to bring about darkness instead of bringing about light and bringing about truth. There's a good bit in the Bible about being blind. You all remember the story of Bartimaeus. May I tell it to you real quick? B-A-R in Hebrew means son. Timaeus is the man's name. So this guy, Bartimaeus, was the son of a father whose name was Timaeus. All right, Bartimaeus. You have in the Jewish religion, you have what are called bar mitzvahs. Bar mitzvah is where you have a young man who becomes a son of the law. They also have for girls, it's called ba, B-A, which means daughter, not son. So bar mitzvah means where a young girl, usually around 12, becomes a daughter of the law. Here you have this guy, Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, and he's sitting by the roadside and he's begging. And Jesus is passing by. This all happens in Jericho. And what's the crowd trying to do to Bartimaeus? Bartimaeus starts screaming, Son of David, have pity on me. What's the crowd trying to do? Shut him up. Shut up. He screams louder. And so finally Jesus hears him. And what happens is somebody brings him, leads him by the hand to Jesus. The crowd trying to shut him up. Before we even go any further, who really could see there? Who was the one who really could see? Bartimaeus. It's funny, all the people with eyes, they couldn't see the truth. But the one who could see was the blind guy. So in order to have spiritual sight, you don't have to have physical eyes. To see the truth, you don't have to have physical eyes. What happens is Bartimaeus is the one who can see and everybody else is blind. They don't recognize that Jesus can give this man back his sight and work a miracle. So they bring Bartimaeus to Jesus. He's face to face with Jesus. You have the light face to face with the dark. And Jesus opens his eyes. The first face he ever sees is Jesus. That's an awesome thought. The first face he ever sees is the face of God. It's an awesome thought. Awesome thought. And probably for the rest of his life, he follows Jesus on his way. The point I'm trying to make with that is in that particular miracle, the man who was physically blind was the one who could see the spiritual truth. You can be blind two ways. You can be physically blind, or you can be spiritually blind. I would suggest that a good bit of the United States, especially American leadership is spiritually blind. Amen.
Amen.
If you please stand, we now offer our prayers.